Around the festive season, a peculiar tradition has emerged. With the scent of pine and the sparkle of tinsel, many homes adorn their hearths and halls with gnome ornaments. These quaint figurines, with their rosy cheeks and fur-trimmed hats, have become a beloved symbol of Yuletide joy. Yet, beneath the surface of this joyful tradition, an unsettling pattern has started to unfold. There are whispers of unexplained incidents, unsettling occurrences that seem to cluster around homes decorated with these cheerful gnomes. A series of inexplicable acts of violence, as unpredictable as they are chilling, have left communities on edge. With no discernible motive or suspect, these incidents remain shrouded in mystery. As the snow falls and the Christmas lights twinkle, a question hangs in the frosty air. Is there a sinister undercurrent to this festive tradition? Are these jovial gnomes more than just harmless holiday decorations? Could these innocent-looking gnomes be hiding a dark secret? Dive deep into the lore of the gnome curse, a chilling tale whispered among the locals. The gnome curse is a chilling narrative that dates back centuries. It begins with seemingly innocent gnome decorations, their cheery faces and festive attire belying a sinister secret. As the story goes, these gnomes come alive at night, wreaking havoc and committing horrifying acts. These aren't your garden variety gnomes. They're a breed apart. Their origins trace back to a reclusive toy maker in the heart of the Black Forest. Legend has it that he imbued each gnome with a piece of his twisted soul, cursing them to an eternity of mischief and malevolence. What's particularly eerie are the real-life accounts from those who've owned these gnomes. One tale comes from a small town in Germany. The local baker, a kind old man named Heinrich, had a collection of these gnomes. He'd often joke about the strange occurrences around his bakery: fresh loaves of bread mysteriously nibbled, flour trails leading to nowhere, and even his trusted rolling pin, inexplicably broken in two. It was all in good humor until Heinrich was found one morning lifeless with a gnome statue eerily toppled over by his side. Another account comes from a family in the United States. They'd bought a gnome decoration at a quaint Christmas market, attracted by its unique craftsmanship. However, the holiday cheer soon gave way to unease. Whispers in the night, moving shadows, and the gnome always seeming to be in a different place from where they'd left it. The final straw was when they found their pet cat, terrified and hiding, scratches on its body that were too precise for any animal. These accounts are just a few among many, dismissed as mere coincidence or overactive imagination. But there's a sense of dread that lingers, a fear that these stories are more than just tales. People laughed it off as a mere urban legend until the Christmas of 2023. The festive cheer of Christmas 2023 was shattered by a series of gruesome incidents. The holiday season, usually filled with joy and goodwill, was tainted with a horror that no one could have foreseen. A chilling tale unfolded, one that would forever stain the history of Christmas. In homes decked with holly and mistletoe, a series of macabre discoveries were made. Homeowners, known to have a particular fondness for gnome decorations, were found brutally murdered. The scenes were not just horrifying, but also uncannily similar, as if they were the work of a single malevolent entity. Each victim was found in their festively decorated living room with a circle of gnome figures ominously surrounding them. The expressions of the gnomes, usually jovial and merry, were twisted into grotesque parodies of joy. The victims bore signs of a struggle, but no evidence of a human intruder was ever found. It was as if the gnomes themselves had risen against their owners. And then the whispered tales of the gnome curse began to circulate. The legend that was once laughed off as a mere ghost story, a tale spun to frighten children, now seemed chillingly plausible. The gnome curse, it was said, was brought to life when the gnomes were neglected or mistreated. The gnomes, in their wrath, would turn against their owners, bringing death in the most horrific manner. The parallels between the legend and the Christmas incidents were too striking to ignore. The victims were all gnome enthusiasts, people who had collected and displayed these figures for years. Some were rumored to have been less than kind to their gnome collections, neglecting them, or even using them as mere props for their holiday celebrations. As the death toll rose, the festive cheer turned into a palpable dread. The twinkling Christmas lights now cast eerie shadows, and the once beloved gnome figures were viewed with suspicion and fear. The gnome curse, once a subject of ridicule, had become a terrifying reality. The happy jingle of Christmas bells was now underscored by a chilling echo, the haunting whisper of the gnome curse. The gnome curse was no longer a laughing matter, it had become a terrifying reality. Authorities were baffled, unable to explain the strange circumstances surrounding the murders. The wave of inexplicable deaths had sent a tremor of fear through the public, a chill that ran deeper than the winter frost. The common thread was glaringly obvious, yet incredibly bizarre. Each crime scene was marked by the eerie presence of a Christmas gnome decoration. The investigation was a labyrinth of enigmas, a puzzle with pieces that just didn't seem to fit. Forensic teams scoured the scenes, but all they found were the usual signs of a struggle and those unsettling gnome figurines. No fingerprints, no DNA, no trace of whoever or whatever was responsible. A fear began to creep into the collective consciousness, a whisper that grew louder with each passing day. Could the gnomes themselves be the culprits? This idea was met with a mixture of ridicule and fear. Many officials scoffed at the notion, dismissing it as an absurd urban legend that had gotten out of hand. Who could take seriously the idea that holiday decorations, symbols of joy and togetherness, could be responsible for such heinous acts? Yet as the body count rose, so did the number of believers. The media had a field day with the story, dubbing it the Gnome Curse. Reports flooded in from all over the country of people disposing of their gnomish decorations, too terrified to keep them in their homes any longer. But the killings didn't stop. It was as though an unseen hand was moving the pieces of this macabre chess game, and the public was left in checkmate, paralyzed by fear. Theories ran rampant, from the logical to the absurd. Was there a serial killer with a sick sense of humor? Were the gnomes possessed by vengeful spirits? Or was it all a mass hallucination, a collective hysteria fueled by fear and the power of suggestion? The investigation continued, but the answers remained as elusive as the winter's sun behind a blanket of gray clouds. Fear hung in the air, a palpable entity in itself, as the town awaited the next strike from their unassuming tormentors. Despite the mounting evidence, many still refused to believe the unthinkable. As the investigation progressed, a chilling truth began to emerge. The gnome curse was not just a work of fiction or a tale to spook children. It was a reality that was playing out in our very homes. The evidence was undeniable and terrifying. Gnomes, which were once stationary objects, were now caught moving on CCTV cameras. These were not mere glitches or tricks of the light. The gnomes were seen changing positions, facing different directions, and in some instances simply disappearing from one place and reappearing in another. In addition to this, strange, unidentifiable markings started showing up at crime scenes. These eerie symbols were not random scribbles, but were consistently found in homes where the gnomes were present. The conclusion was inescapable. The Christmas gnomes were not just festive decorations. They were entities with a sinister purpose, lurking in plain sight, waiting for the opportune moment to strike. This Christmas, the festive gnomes are not just decorations, they are deadly predators lurking in plain sight.